Spark.Live and me, and also Spark.Live for giving me this opportunity, to interact with people from different sectors. I'm sure some of you probably would be studying, maybe you have a startup idea in your mind, or you're doing a job right now. So I'll try to do, share my experience and what I, over the period of, whatever career span that I have, or also what I'm doing right now in the personal branding space. Out of all that experience, that I've gathered in this area, there are some very, very specific area, things that I kind of figured out. Which I mean, we are now calling them as 10 golden rules, but you can take them just as, key takeaways, which might help you at least make the right start. And that has been my prime objective of, whatever, whether I'm doing marketing or whether I'm doing, personal branding, as, promoting that as an area of work, that everybody in the, in the industry right now is teaching you about how to climb the chart, like how to really expand that, how to really elevate that, use different kind of hacks, different kind of, technology gimmicks and everything. But the most important thing, and I think that's where most of us are getting stuck, is that we don't even know that how to even make the right start. So what would you do if you end up knowing all the techniques and, all the tricks and tips, let's say, if you don't even know how to take the first step? So that will be my, that will be my focus for today, and even going forward, if anyone would like to stay connected or, contact me later on, that let's try to first take the right step. And I'm sure that once you start the journey, reaching the destination is never difficult. The only important thing is, getting out of the bed and start that journey. So that's what the 10 golden rules will be all about. And I hope it adds some value to your, whatever objective you have come with for this session. Before we do that, the chat box is open, as I've been confirmed. I would just like to ask you guys first, that what do you even understand by personal branding? I mean, there would have been something in your mind when you saw this, the post for this session, and or maybe any other session that you ever attended. What do you guys think is a personal branding? So I would really appreciate if we keep it a little interactive, so that it doesn't become like a download of information for you, and we are able to link and build something up out of it. So please feel free to just type something on the comment box. We have a few attendees here. What is personal branding for you? Okay. Promote yourself, promote your own brand personally. Okay. Marketing ourselves. All right. A few more, please. Promoting ourselves, client, as a brand in the outside world to generate brand recollect. Okay. Personal branding is to make yourself a brand and present it. Marketing privately. Not really privately, but yeah, okay. Marketing. So we are all talking about, marketing, let's say ourselves, whether you call it branding or marketing, not relatively too different from each other, but we're talking about putting ourselves out in the market. And, whether it is, you call it to do it for your own brand, or in the back end, you either have a kind of a job which you want to market along with that, like you have a career which you want to attract better opportunities, or maybe you have a business and you want to outreach people to sell your products or services, and you want to be associated with that as yourself as a brand as well. Somebody has just written brand colors creatives also plays a major role. Definitely it does. I mean, that is part of the brand identity. So guys, personal branding is, in a very, very layman language and in very simple terms, it is basically just a perception of what people look you for. I mean, so it's the perception that somebody would hold of you as an individual, the kind of skills, experience, knowledge, what value add you bring into the picture, what is the unique value proposition that you bring in. And it's not very different to having a business brand. I mean, if you look at it, it has all the similarities like that. So when we look at any business brand, for example, let's talk about Samsung and Apple. We understand how relatively different they are. We already have a perception around Apple that, it's a very niche kind of a, in a technology company. They will only produce some very high end products, no matter whatever it is. And it will be very difficult for you to digest if they really come up with a very low scale, or a very low kind of price product in the market, right? Though they have been trying to do that for a period of time. But imagine a 20,000 or a 25,000 Apple mobile. You will be like, no. So what is that? Over a period of time, Apple has given you that perception that this is who I am as a brand. And that's exactly the same what happens with individuals. Like I was saying, to connect back to what Gaurav has started telling you about me, I don't know if any one of you have visited the profile before you came for this session on LinkedIn or anywhere else. Whatever you saw, whatever you heard, whatever you read, you had already built maybe some bit of perception about me. And now while we are going through this session, there will be an additional layer to the perception that you have carried. And that is the personal brand that I have left with you. So that is exactly what happens in personal branding space, right? And that is the core of it. And it's not something that you can just overnight build. It's a very integral part of who you are as well. So even if you are, let's say, an X, and you are trying to build up a brand like Y, it has to be very close to what you are and what you're trying to build. Let's say you don't want to overlap it 100%, and you want to have some gap of who you are, right? There is a percentage which you don't want to be completely out there, but you have to define where do you stop. And let's say 75 to 80% is something which you really are, like you're an energetic person, you have a lot of knowledge, you're an expert in an XYZ field, you are available to people to reach out. Whatever that might be will be something that people will carry forward, right? So I hope that made sense. Now, when we are trying to build a personal brand, okay, and you can, if you're not really aware of a personal brand part of it, put yourself completely into a consumer shoe, right? And think around how even a business brand would do it and what are the challenges they also face. So it might help you relate to things, because usually if you have not been through the personal branding journey, you might not be able to really think through that. But you are a consumer, every day you are consuming products, information, content, services, so you will understand. Now tell me, before I put up my slide and I start showing you the 10 golden rules, I would like to first ask you guys, if you have not done any personal branding so far, or if you are looking to do it and all, what are some of the things that are stopping you? Please help me understand that by typing your points, and just be totally free. I mean, don't have any kind of hitch in your mind by writing it. It's okay, I'm not calling out any names here. Just feel free to write. Nothing. Okay, so I don't understand what you mean by nothing. So there is absolutely nothing that is stopping you from building a brand. That's actually a good thing. So that's good if you have nothing. Okay. Contacts, reach. So you're probably trying to say that you really don't have any reach for the towards the contacts. Finance for promotion. So you are thinking that if you have to start building up a personal brand, you first need to have some kind of budget allocated to it so that you can start promoting your brand. But that's a very later on stage. I'm talking about even starting a brand. And maybe the person who has written finance for promotion, if you already have a brand and now you're stuck at a stage where you're not seeing growth, I understand that you're thinking that I'm maybe putting up a lot of content, I'm all over the place, but I'm not seeing a growth. Okay. Where to start? So you don't know the starting point. There is no goal, right? Guys, a few more. I would really appreciate. What is it that's stopping you? Ideation. So you're not very clear about, you really don't have a very clear idea, which is something very similar to not having a goal. So you're not very clear of, what exactly you should be doing with it. There is no direction, right? So everything falling in the same line, kind of clueless, not having an idea. There's no very clear goal defined, direction. Okay, so you guys been, thank you for you guys been sharing some information around. Let me put up those rules that I would want to show you. I hope my screen is visible. If somebody can just give me a confirmation, Gaurav, if you're there. I don't want to disconnect that the screen is not visible and I keep talking. Gaurav, can you just confirm on the chat or?
Yeah, it's visible. We can
Thank
see
you so
the.
much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, thanks. Some of the participants also said that. Okay, so guys, 10 golden rules of personal branding. Sounds very exciting, and it looks like, oh, I'm gonna give you some, some very golden kind of stuff, and just by applying all of it, you have a personal brand. Well, that's not exactly the case, but I'm sure it will help you do some kind of an internal thought process. I leave you with some food for thought. That is for sure. And I think if you try to apply these, in your own way, in your own style, because it is your personal brand, you would be able to at least make a start. That much of confidence I can have. Now, what do you need the personal brand for? Basically, before you're trying to apply these golden rules, do you understand the power of having a personal brand? Like I talked about, brands like Apple or Samsung. Even an individual can be as powerful as a bigger, big business brand. Let's talk about some individuals who are leading some businesses, but at the same time, they themselves are either equally as big as their brand, or they are much bigger than that. For example, let's say Jack Ma, who's the founder of Alibaba. Let's talk about let's say Ratan Tata, who is, the whole soul of Tata Group right now. These are some of the people who are right now, if not equal or maybe bigger than the brands that they're leading, right? Just because they have a strong personal brand, which have been developed over time. And guys, when we talk about personal brand, let me just give you a little myth buster here as well. When we say personal brand, we don't just say a digital brand. Now, that is another problem, or let's say that is another area of confusion which a lot of us hold, that when we say let's do personal branding or let's build up a personal brand, the immediate thought that we have in our mind is that's something we're talking about having a social media presence. So personal brand means having good number of followers on an Instagram, having a good a contact base on, let's say, LinkedIn, or followership on LinkedIn or Facebook or whichever way. But that's not the personal branding. That is one of the outlets to build a personal brand and then stay consistent with it. Now, I gave you the examples of Ratan Tata and Jack Ma, and I'm sure most of you would have heard of both of them. They don't have a strong digital presence, or they're not sitting there every day throwing content, but they are a big brand in themselves. So please be very clear about it, that personal branding is not equal to digital branding, right? That is one of the outlets to develop a brand, because a lot of people are not very comfortable coming online, throwing up a lot of content or being going live and everything. So you don't have to think that that's the battle, lost already. That's not the case. A personal brand will help you build awareness, right? If there is a topic, if there's an area, or there's some kind of a knowledge that you have where you want to create awareness around it, a personal brand will help you do that. You can't just keep everything inside you, and you want to outreach to people and let them know about it. Even for, let's say, a product or a service that you have, and you are at a very initial awareness state. Somebody talked about ideation. So if you have let's say, a startup idea, and you are at a very launch initial phase, and you just want to create awareness around it, or you want to get feedback from people to understand it, it helps you develop trust. Trust is one of the, like the key connectors for anybody to make a transaction. Now, whether it's a human to human transaction on a personal branding level, or whether it's a human to business transaction, like you must have heard B2B and B2C. So developing trust is very, very important if somebody has a good perception about you. So that will help you if you have a personal brand, and where people are able to relate you with things which they really admire. It will help you create reputation, very similar to having trust. It will, over a period of time, people will kind of trust you, they will respect you, and that way you will be able to make, your transactions faster. You will be able to influence opinions of people. Now, when we also consume right now the content or information all across web, or let's say even going in a session on a, on a physical capacity or whatever, we get influenced by the opinion of others. Like whatever I'm telling you right now, I'm not saying I'm trying to influence you, but maybe you might be getting some kind of, impression in your head left with that, okay, yeah, this is something that I should do. So by my knowledge, I'm trying to influence you with whatever I have, been doing successfully. You can advocate causes and attract opportunities. There might be a cause which you're very sentimental about. It could be around humanity, it could be around, let's say, green, go green forests and all. It could be around animals. Now, if you have a very, very there is a cause where you're very strong about, and you are seeking support, you wanting to do something around it, it will help you do that. Because, and people will see that you're somebody whom they can trust, and you're somebody who's doing an effort and trying to bring that change in the world. So they will actually be able to help you with that. And also, at a very, very, that's something which everybody really wants to do, is attract opportunities. Whether it's in terms of getting a better job, whether it's in terms of scaling up in the existing job. I mean, if you, when I said like you don't need to have a personal brand digitally, so even if you have a very good reputation in your current company, people trust you, people relate you with some of the good vibe, good areas, and they have some value proposition that they relate you with, so you will be able to attract better opportunities. And at the same time, if you're looking to get some job outside of your company, or if you're planning to launch a startup, you want to attract customers, you want to sell your products and services, so personal branding will help you do all of it in a much faster way. Now, let's talk about a situation where you don't have a personal brand. A lot of people ask me this in the session that, okay, so you say that if I don't have a personal brand, I won't get a job. Guys, that's not the case. We are not saying that everybody really, really needs to have a personal brand. We are talking and we are trying to, interact with people who have an interest in building up a personal brand. They probably understand the benefits of it, but they're kind of stuck. So you have it or not have it is a pure choice that you hold. Nobody's controlling that choice. But if you do make a decision to go ahead with personal branding, it will definitely help you with all these things. All right. Now let's move forward. And I will break the 10 rules into two specific sections. I hope the slide is now visible. The first section will talk about the things which I would say that you should stop doing, right? So the golden rules are not all about what you should be doing. Before we do something right, we have to understand what are we doing wrong, right? So that we can fix it. Fixing is, faster than creating something new. So there are these five things which I, and by this has come to me by experience of I trying to do something around my brand or my current job, or or marketing or whatever I have done throughout my career, or the people I interact on a day-to-day basis, that why they're getting stuck with things. And some of you also gave that, if you would be able to see some area, like somebody mentioned goals, that's around having no direction and a lot of things around that. So these are five things that you should stop like right away if you're looking to make an impactful brand. The first one is, and I was very happily surprised that nobody wrote this, because this is the first point which always comes out: the fear of judgment. Before even we make a start and develop a social media presence, or go and live on a session, let's say on the ground and all, we all become prisoner to this thought that what will people think. But guys, we don't have to do that. Like I'm talking to you right now, I can't come to you if I have so much of fear of what each one of you will think. That's your personal choice. That is up to you what you make out of this session. But from my side, I cannot lock my knowledge and experience and interest and passion towards this area by carrying that fear of judgment. And that's not just for personal branding, for anything. So people will always judge you. They have their own belief systems, they have their own secure insecurities, they have their own life that they have shaped up with, and there might be reasons they have to judge you, but that should not make you stop. You be very clear of whatever mission and vision you're on, identify your strengths and acknowledge your weaknesses as well, and then get on with it, right? So that's the first thing that you should stop doing completely. Forget about just personal branding. The second problem that we face is procrastination. Procrastination is something like delaying things. So like, like I said, today we are having this session, then suddenly you might decide, okay, let me open up a LinkedIn account, let me do this. And before that, you were just delaying it for something to happen. Something miraculous will happen. Either you will end up having somebody who can help you do it. Somebody will sit down with you and make you do it. Guys, things doesn't move that way, right? You have to understand that if you are delaying it, you're just increasing, you're kind of reducing the chances of you coming up with it faster and in a more effective manner. We are living in a highly, highly competitive world right now. So, if there is any job seeker here right now in the session and you're looking to get a job, and you're maybe in the first year or the third year, and you think that, okay, I'll open up the LinkedIn account the day I want to start searching for the job, guys, you're late. You're already, you don't even understand the amount of people who are on LinkedIn right now hunting for job and even applying for jobs, or the companies that are looking for job. So you're getting into the pool of competition and you're delaying that. If you're in the first year, make an account right away. Just write and start doing it, or maybe curate content. If you're not able to create the content, curate content and share information. People will start to develop your connect, start building that impression, make your own network. Somebody mentioned we don't have contact reach and all. It will give you that time. By the time you're in the third year or the fourth year of your college and you're actually in the job hunting process, you would see that your LinkedIn personality has been built up. People know you, some people know you and all that stuff. And when you send your request, when you send your application for a job, there will be a background, there will be this digital footprint you would have created over the years. So you don't have to delay things. And as a human being, like I said, there's a research, where 95% of us, in some degree or more, we procrastinate. We just think that, okay, let's do it tomorrow, which never comes. So have a very self-disciplined and a passionate approach towards it. List down your priorities. Nobody's asking you to do everything right away today, but have your priorities listed. If you're looking for a job, let's say make a LinkedIn profile. If you're looking to start up a business, start maybe exploring that idea. Send surveys to people, try to do some market research, try to talk about that topic. You will, that you'll be able to understand, even if is there any even an interest about that, is there something that might scale up in time. So you have to start doing it now. The third point is uncertain goals, where somebody wrote, I mean, there were 3 points which were very much related to this: having no direction, ideation, and uncertain goals. We don't consider usually, this step very critical. So what happens is we just start the process. We don't even know what is the end point. So if I'm, if I started my personal branding journey on, let's say Instagram, I have a goal defined. It might be, let's say, I want to have 50K followers by 2021. I have a realistic goal, or let's say a practical goal defined. So my entire approach, my entire strategy, or my, my entire content planning or anything, all my activities that I will do will be to reach that goal. So having a clear goal it's like a, connecting the dots back. So when you have some identified goal, that could be a business goal, it could be a financial goal, it could be a personal goal, that I want to be a happy, I want to get a job where I'm happy and all that stuff. And then you go back and connect the dots and see that what is it that is required to be done to reach that goal. So if you're looking at building a personal brand, you first know why you want to build a personal brand. You have to answer that question. It's not about how you will build a personal brand. How is something that you will automatically end up doing when you know the what. The why. So know the why and then make make the step forward. Don't come with it later on. So setting goals is very, very important, and irrespective of whatever field you choose. I think somebody's putting up a comment. How to create strategy. Okay, we'll talk about it. Hold on. Now, so I'll take all the questions, guys, in the end, and I will also look into the question that you're putting in right now. The fourth point is preconceived notions. Now, you can read the content, but what I'm trying to see here is that, until unless we try to come out of our comfort zone and we really are comfortable taking some calculated risk, or be comfortable with even failing, we cannot move further. So we automatically, sometimes what we do is we already have this, this perceptions that, if I go ahead and do this, then this might be the outcome. But that's again not the case always, right? Like if I came into this session, I might have thought, okay, maybe there are 100 people who will come in. I don't know, I might not be able to deliver properly. My content might get, all over the place. Whatever will happen, what will people think? And nobody might follow me. So there might be some unnecessary preconceived notions and perceptions that I will have, and that will stop me from coming into it. But that's not the case. Failures actually teach you. I mean, they're your biggest, teachers in that way. It actually makes you rethink and strategize. So if I come in here, if I don't even take the risk to come in here, how will I know that? How should I improvise my content? How would I know that? What are the people thinking when they interact with me? Are they even receptive of what I'm saying? Are they even trying to interact with me? How would I know what is the feedback that came for my session? Or if somebody tried to connect with me later on LinkedIn or Insta or wherever. So if I'm trying to achieve something, I have to take, I have to remove those perceptions, and I have to take a risk to come here and understand that what will happen. So you have to remove all the preconceived notions that if I open up an Instagram account, I'll not be able to have a 1 million followers. How can I have 1 million followers? Go and try. There are ways to reach there. It's not that there are some people. So there is one thing, that once you have a brand and you are already associated with it, so you're very popular, right? So like, let's say Tata, group I talked about. So when Ratan Tata recently came on Instagram, I think somewhere last year, he already had an automatic followership of, like huge. I mean, I think over a million. But there might be people who don't have that business brand, but they themselves are bigger brand. And there are such people like, let's say Ankur Variku is one of the guys I know. Ranveer Ahlabadi, he runs a handle of Beer Biceps. He has a 1 million followership, and he's a pretty young guy. Started in 2015. It took him so much time to now come up and have a big brand. He's one of the biggest. He's the number one podcaster in India right now. So you have to do that. And the fifth thing, which also somebody mentioned around, not having, I think, the right knowledge or something, which is very correct, skill gap. Now, there is no limit to it. There is no start, there is no end to it. It's a starting that you have to make. You have to continuously know that you have to teach yourself also. So you have to find your own mechanisms. If you, let's say, for example, you want to build up a personal brand in the photography space, right? Or let's say jewelry designing, whatever, or interior designing, whatever it might be. First, you have to understand and find your own mechanics to add that knowledge, have that skill, build up a talent around it. So like you have to be a student for life, right? And then only you can pass on that information. Now if I have come to this session, I have invested time in trying to understand what I want to communicate. I have given time to, somebody also mentioned design and content, so you can see that I'm trying to put up some content in front of you. I'm trying to relate it with some examples that I have had in my life, and that is what I'm trying to share with you. So if you want to get into a field which you probably are already skilled up in, or if there is a new area of an interest where you really feel that this is what I want to do, then you have to develop that skill. And that's a continuous process. It doesn't end up with you learned something, you got onto the platform. But if you have to continuously add value to people, if you want that brand to grow, it's not something which can get stabilized at a level. You want that to be continuously growing, then you have to continuously develop your skill. So guys, these are 5 rules. I would say that if you really, really stop doing all these things, you will be able to make that start, right? Sit down with at least your roadmap. And now maybe to address that question which somebody asked, that how to strategize around, how to overcome this and strategize and move forward. Let me in fact take you to the next slide, which will help you understand how you can strategize. You can be more explicit in what exactly, when you, what you're trying to say when you said how do I strategize, you strategize for what. But maybe this will answer your question. Now, the 5 things that you should really, really start doing after you have overcome all those internal things. So, there is another way of looking at this setup, that the above 5 rules that we talked about, those are the ones that are internally something that needs to be taken care of. And when you have done that, these are the 5 rules which you can apply externally towards developing those brand, right? Because once you have got control of all those areas, this is something that you can start doing. The first most important thing is having the correct goal setting. There is a very, very nice framework which is available and most of the businesses use it. It's called SMART. Make your goals something which is very, very specific. The goals can't be that I'll achieve this and that. No, either you want to come first in the race or you just want to participate in the race. They both can't be the goals, right? So go and be very clear around what do you want to achieve. You fail is okay, but at least you should be clear that I'm just running, or I want to really, win this race. Something which is measurable. You should know then that what is it, something where I will say that okay, this is when I reach here, I say that I met my goal, right? Something that is attainable. Sorry, it's achievable. Actually, I'm really sorry, there is a misspell here. That's something which is achievable. Now goals should be very realistic. You can't just make a goal today saying that okay, I will break the world record of, I'll make the Olympics records in running. You want to first win that particular race, and you probably, when you start doing that goal will also become achievable for you. But at this point in time, what you think is something which is very, very achievable, something which is very relevant to your purpose. Now goals have to be very, very interlinked to what you're trying to achieve. Now when I'm giving you an example of race, I'm probably talking about a sports person. But if you're looking at building a personal brand, and I'm talking about, let's say, Instagram, so something which is very, very relevant to my personal branding. I can't think of having a handle, a portfolio on an Instagram, and then say I'm trying to seek job, because Instagram is not the handle for job seekers, right? I mean, people do use it sometimes, but that's not the handle. The purpose of each of the social media handles is very, very different. I can't go to attend an event and think, okay, everybody will come here, I'll probably pass my resume and get a job. No, LinkedIn is a portfolio, platform for getting a job. So something which is very relevant to what is your purpose, and something which is very time bound, right? You have to understand that it has to have a time limit. The goals can't be left open in air. That okay, I will just achieve them. No, it's like it's like school. This is the end of the year. Either you pass or you fail. So set up your very, very specific goals. That's the first step. Sit down, have a paper and pen, write down the goals that you want to achieve, prioritize, shortlist, and try to make short-term and long-term goals. Not everything you can achieve right away. So break the goals into, when you list down your goals, it will help you break them into something that you want to achieve right away, something that will take time, and that could be your long term goal, right? So that's the first step towards even building the strategy. Second thing is, who is your audience? You, at the end of the day, you're trying to, make a human connect. You're trying to sell something to somebody, whether it's a product, it's a service, or your knowledge, or whatever it is, right? And not everybody could be your target audience. You can't just go open and say that, okay, I will just put up my stuff, whoever wants to watch it, they can. No, you can do that, but there has to be some strategy behind that. You know that whoever will see, these are the people who will buy, who will convert. So you can address and pass on the message to everyone, but there has to be a very, very clearly defined audience. Now, when I say I'm on LinkedIn, I have a very, very specific defined audience that I only try to interact or build my network around marketing community, because my LinkedIn profile is around my, my profession that I have over a period of time. Earlier it was operations, then, sales and marketing and all. On Instagram, I'm trying to interact with maybe everyone. In fact, I'm trying to interact with, more of a community of people who are trying to run their startups, who are building up entrepreneurships, women entrepreneurs, students, those kind of people who are who are struggling with building a personal brand, and they would want to build that for either themselves or their business. So my audience is defined there, and the age range would be different, the geography will be different. So you have to be very clear of who is your target audience, so that you can, even when somebody talked about outreach, and somebody talked about finance and money, let's say if you put up a promotion on Instagram for 1000 bucks, there is a proper system which comes in all these social media handles to build up your brand or whatever you want to promote. There is, there is a kind of a questionnaire that you have to fill up. What is the location, what kind of age range, what is the gender, what are the keywords and all. Now if you don't do that, and you just go for an easy choice of automatic, so you're actually not making any effort. You're just leaving it for Instagram to decide on behalf of you and say that, okay, this is how I will just send the information to people. So you have to be very clear, and you have to go back and study those insights and see that, okay, these are the people who are reacting to my stuff. Right now, if you relate it to business, you might have seen that any cola company, when they launch a new cola, let's say Red Bull or Pepsi or whoever, you will see most of the times they put up those kiosks in front of colleges, or like some companies and all, because they know that this is where my audience will come. So if I put up across a Red Bull new brand or a new cola which has come in front of colleges for free, maybe I'm just doing a free distribution, I know that the moment the person will come out, he'll be hungry, tired of the day and all, and wanting something to freshen up, they'll pick up it, pick that up. They'll not put up that kiosk in front of a temple or a public authority and all. So they know where their audience is sitting, right? You have to be very clear of that. That's point number two. The third one is, once you know that this is your goal, this is what you want to achieve, you understand that who are the people who will help you, make you achieve that. Because in terms of, whether it's a business goal or a financial goal or a personal goal, the audience will only make you achieve that, right? They will either make a spend on you, they will either promote your product, they will or either they will follow you, they will give you likes, they will comment, they will engage with you. So once you know all of that, that's the time when you build up your, or you start rethinking around having an avatar. Avatar is like the version of yourself, like your identity. Like somebody mentioned around having a good design and all. So the moment, the screen that you're seeing right now, that is my identity. I chose having an ID like Reach Nidhi, because I want to, probably pass on a message even with my ID, that I'm very reachable, I'm approachable. Now that's a standard, username that I have across each platform that I am on. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever, because I want to kind of, set up that consistency that people can easily find me. I have my own logo made where I want to, tell that this is my personal branding space. This is not my professional, marketing job that I'm doing. So I have my own brand identity that I've developed. So it's not only about having a logo. You can decide to not have a logo. What I'm trying to say is that you should come up with your own original and authentic self. You can't copy someone else. You can be inspired. If you like somebody's idea, you like the way they are presenting themselves, that the way they talk, the way they put up content, get inspiration, because without inspiration we don't do anything. I mean, even I take inspiration from everything, everything. So whatever content you're reading here, you will see that I've not coined new stuff. It's nothing that I have written something very innovatively new. I'm trying to tell things that you might have heard here and there in any way, or some capacity or the other. You might have encountered these things, but I'm trying to give you a structure around it, that guys, stop doing this and start doing this. You will at least be able to make a start, right? So have a very, very strong brand identity and an original identity. something that you bring to the table. Guys, even if there are 10 musicians or photographers on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever, all of them have something different about them. It can't be a case that if you belong to one industry, one field, one area of work, you just have to be a copy of each other. No, there will be something which they bring differently. What is it that you bring differently? That's how we people will link to you. The fourth thing is the growth strategy. Now, you know that, okay, I have a defined goal. I want to reach here. I know my audience. I have an identity to start running. So you know that, this is my track is defined, so not sorry, my track, my audience is defined. I know who are my competitors and everything is defined. Where do I have to reach? You know your own identity. Now you have to develop a growth strategy. Now you have to develop a track that how should I start moving ahead with this? So, for example, what happens in personal branding is that the moment you decide to make a personal brand, you put up your profile on every platform. You think, okay, personal branding means having a social media presence everywhere. Over a period of time, it puts up immense amount of pressure on you to sustain that. So growth is very addictive. The moment you put a profile on all, you put up a content piece and you see, okay, on Twitter, 5 people followed me. On LinkedIn, I got, this many number of comments. On Insta, 10 people liked it. Facebook. Now, its addiction is good, but how will you sustain that? So you have to understand that you should not, you should not miss out the approach of reaching your goal in a very, very consistent manner. Consistency is very, very important here, and consistency only comes when you put quality over content. Put up quality in the forefront. Start bringing that value proposition by choosing the right platform. So if you want to make, so we all know, I hope we all understand that every social media platform or even the live, the physical places that we visit, they have a purpose behind it. People organize those things because of a purpose. So if we know that that Instagram is it's for photography, like the photographs. I mean, the content piece is all about visuals, right? It's for live, going live. It's about engaging with the audience, putting up fun stuff, music, this and that, connect with anybody out there. The youth is sitting there. Instagram, Facebook serves another person. It's about community building. On Instagram, you can just follow. You can't really make communities there. Facebook is all about building communities and connecting with people, making them friends, make them follow your pages, and maybe generate sales through that. LinkedIn is all about business community. It's again about community, but business community. So now when you know that all these platforms serve different purpose, you should be able to identify what is my medium, what is the channel that I want to use to reach my purpose, and then I don't get lost in that jungle of entire web. Once you have stabilized one place, once you see that growing, that's the time when you can expand, and you can probably replicate the same strategy onto that other platform or to any other thing. And I'm not just talking about social media platform. This could be content platform. There are people who have a very good amount accounts on blogging sites. There are people who are very active on Medium, or let's say I'm just forgetting some blogging sites names right now, but there are people who are very active just on YouTube. So you have to identify the channel, and how do you then replicate it? So if you start putting up videos on YouTube, but then you see I'm not getting viewership, so that means that now it's time to open up another account where you promote your YouTube videos. You let people come to your YouTube through that handle. Like we are having this live session on Zoom, but at the same time, Spark.Live is streaming it live on Facebook and YouTube, because they're trying to make this content, this conversation go have a bigger audience and outreach, right? Because eventually they want to bring audience to their initiative, which is Spark.Live. Okay. The last element here is success factors, KPIs, key performance indicators. Like I said, when you win, how do you know that you have won or not? So there has to be something which has to measure your success. If there is no measure on appetite, we'll fall sick, right? If you don't know how much do we have to eat, how much is good or bad for us, then how would you go back and kind of elevate that? So you need to have a success factor. Like I said, okay, 50,000 is my success factor. The day I achieve that, that's where when I call myself that my strategy worked for me and I'm successful. Now it's time to probably go back and re-strategize. And in between the journey, if I got any feedbacks, the results, I understand. And then the journey from 50K to 100K would be a little bit better. It will be much more, it will be much more interesting, and it will be probably less challenging for me. So we have to really get this feedback by knowing what is the feedback that we're looking for. So you should have very, very clearly defined success factor, which in business terms we normally call around KRAs or KPIs, key performance indicators, and then go back and see even if you are performing. So when I put up some content on the web, I go back and check the insights. Guys, I know that you're raising hand or putting content. I'll just look at it. So I go back and check my insights. I see that what is the time that people engage with the post the most. What is the time I get the maximum traction? What is the promotional result? So when I promote something, I see that okay, I was very surprised. In fact, this morning only I was looking at my insights. I saw on Instagram there is an age range of even like 13. So people with the age range of 13 are viewing my content, and I was probably just trying to search, let's say put it up for let's say 18 to 55, 60, whatever my age range was. So now I have to think through it that okay, there is some bunch of very, very young kids who are Instagram and who are trying to probably see my content. So you have to understand what is the success factor, and they might be my potential followers, by the way, and then strategize accordingly. Right now, 1 second, I have two hands raised here. Ma'am, I've joined now. Okay. How to measure KR and KPI, how to use those features. KRAs and KPIs are not measured. KRA and KPIs are used to measure your success. So if I'm not really sure if you're really aware of these words, but that's okay. These are business terminologies which I use. But what we are trying to say in a very layman language here is that there is some kind of a factor that you define. So for example, achieving a 50,000 followership or having going live every week is a performance factor for mine. Now you call it a KPI, you call it a KRA. So those the KRA and KPIs are not the ones who will help you achieve. They are the ones who will help you measure. If I answered your question correctly. So based on the goal, whatever goal you identified, you have to define these are my milestones. This is how I call. This is something that will call I rate myself as successful. So for example, I'm writing here that if there's no measure on appetite, we'll fall sick. So maybe when you go to a restaurant, how do you decide the experience was good or bad? You have some some things in your mind, right? The food should be good, the environment should be, the ambience should be very nice, the people should be very friendly, the cost should be very like it should be very, very nominal, or whatever it might be. So the four things that I just said, these are your key performance indicators. These are the indicators based on which you will decide whether your experience in the restaurant was good or not. Okay, I hope I answered that question. Where are you from? Well, somebody is asking about my background and where am I from. So guys, I live in Delhi, NCR. I live in Ghaziabad. I work in Noida. And my background, most of it Gaurav is already told, but let me tell you, my highest degree is an MBA. I am a professional by, for almost like over a decade now, around 14 years. And I have worked in different IT companies, different startups in areas like operations, pre-sales, sales, and even marketing. And throughout my career, by choice and by passion, I really get connected to the marketing field. And personal branding is something that I do out of sheer passion, because I really feel that each one of us are extremely important and different, and we all have a personal brand that we can use for our future. Like I said, live and leverage your brand every day. So I think we all have a potential. We all have some talent or skill. Let me give you that good news. None of us are in a capacity where we say we are not talented, we are not skilled. Each one of us is. The only thing is you have to identify what that skill, talent, knowledge, experience, passion is, and then go ahead and develop and build your brand on it. That's all I will say to answering your question on background. So I guys, this is what I had to say during this. We are left with around, I think, 12 minutes. I will just open it up for anybody for any other questions. If you guys have anything that you would want to know more, it's open for Spark.Live team as well, Gaurav, or the people who are in the participants right now. Ma'am, I have joined now, so can I join any other time to get fully? I think you can't like join this session because it was scheduled for today. But probably you can check with Spark.Live on streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. So I'm sure there would be a video recording left on those platforms for you to have a look.
It's recorded on Facebook, so you can have a look there. And Nidhi ma'am's paid session is also there. So if anyone wants to take that, can also take that. I will share the link on the group. So if anyone wants to take that, y'all can take that and build your personal brand. And she will also help you build your personal brand personally when you do that.
Yeah, guys. So this is, this session was all about, let's say, a very, very holistic view, a very, very helicopter view to things. Because to be really honest, 1 hour or let's say 40, 45 minutes are not sufficient enough to make me sit down and help you do and develop a brand right away. So, if you want to connect later on, we can deep dive into everything. Even a very, very basic step like goal setting is something where people just get totally lost and confused, which is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong in it. So when you really try to strategize each step of them and get into the depth of it, so I'm available if you would want to do that, and I can take you down that journey for yourself, or even if you have a startup idea or whatever. I want to sell
There's
Marathi food in Faridabad. Sorry, Gaurav, you were saying something.
so there's a question by Nikhil Nair. He's asking how to measure KRA and KPI, how to use those features.
So Gaurav, that's what I just answered. I saw that question, and can you? Yeah, so I saw that question first, and he has put up something else also. I'll read.
Yeah,
That is
one more
exactly,
question.
yeah, that is what I was explaining, Gaurav. That KRs and KPIs are not, they're not used to measure that way. They are the indicators. So
Yeah.
you measure your success around those indicators. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, he's put up another question. Can you help me how to register the company? I have a dance company. Also, guys, I'm not taking the names, but I'll have to read the question. So you have a dance company which you want to register. Also, from where can I know how to get on board employees? I want to run it professional way rather than a freelancer. Okay, so whoever is asking this question, see, this is not something that I can answer right away in this session. There is an entire process behind it. You can very well connect to me on maybe Instagram or on LinkedIn. So there are formal processes around each one of them. So to answer registering a company, there are standard processes, and there are different type of company registrations that you can go for, whether it's a private limited, LLP, and all that. So you have to kind of figure that out. What is your, again, you have to figure out what is your goal. You can even go sole proprietorship, but that is limited to a particular type of revenue. And onboarding of employees, that's a long conversation that we have to get into. What exactly you're looking to onboard, what kind of employees you're talking about. So I'm just answering you. I'm not taking your name, but I hope you got my answer. Please connect with me separately through for that, so that we can deep dive into what your question is, because this is not related to the whole session around. So you have a master's session or one-to-one to get connected and learn from me. Yeah, sure. You can have. So I don't have any master session planned, and that's a good idea. We can probably discuss that Spark.Live and me, and we can go for a detailed session, which would be a little longer. Or if you want to connect with me for one-on-one, I'm available on Spark.Live as well. You can book up a session through that, right?
Yeah. I will share
Okay.
the. Sorry.
No, sorry. I was just saying, it's okay. Somebody said thank you. There are a couple of questions on the comment box as well, Gaurav. I'll just take them before I miss them. Um, okay, somebody was writing, I want to sell Marathi food in Faridabad. Very interesting idea. Can I start my personal brand over it? Absolutely. Sell anything. You should be confident and comfortable about it. Who's stopping you? Food, that's the weakness of every human being, and especially Indians. So don't have to feel that, I mean, I don't know what is the concern here, whether Marathi food or Faridabad as a location, but definitely. But you can't really have a personal brand over it. You can have either you will end up having a Marathi food brand that you have to build, or you will have to build yourself as a brand, that somebody who is selling Marathi food, but then there is something very specific that you bring into the picture, like you are a chef or you are a cook, that there is some piece of food, this particular thing in the food which only you bring to it. So that is how you'll have to build the narrative around that. You can't have a personal brand and then sell Marathi food. Either project yourself out as a chef or a cook, or something like that. Send out the whole video link on our group. Okay, that will be done by the Spark.Live team. Then there, I want to start my home business. Absolutely do that. That's what all personal branding is all about. And guys, you will be pleasantly surprised to see that there are tons and tons of people who are just making huge amount of money, getting so much success only on even Instagram. They're not even anywhere else. There are people who are so successful right now just by Facebook and Instagram and just LinkedIn presence. They're not even on any other platforms. They don't even have a website. We see that these platforms are providing us so much of features. You can directly sell, you can directly have payments. Even WhatsApp business is so much promoting. So start your home business, no issues. Share the idea, throw to me, I'll help you do that. freelogodesign.com. Okay, so somebody is promoting their own brand here, which is good. I like it. I'll take a note of it. Please don't spam. Yeah, please don't spam. That's from Spark.Live. I think I've taken all the questions, Gaurav, here. And oh, okay. Couple of questions here on the thing. Do you provide internship? Sorry, I don't provide internship. I'm a personal person. How will I provide internship? And if you're talking about my professional association with Tata Advance, yes, they do. But then you will have to professionally come to the company handle or the website and drop in your profile. I'm from Batalur of Arts Journal Bachelor. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I'm a Bachelor's of Art Journal. Can I do MBA in Business Management? Absolutely. I'm the same. Dude, I've done from arts and then I've done my MBA. And in between, somewhere I, kind of adventured into fashion designing all these. So it's okay. Sometimes we are all directionless and lost. We don't know, especially in that age. We think everything, this is what we want to do and all. So it's okay. Until unless you have really, really, delayed the whole process. So you're at a very right time. You did an arts, fine. If you want to do into business management, but you should have a reason behind it. Just don't do business management because everybody in the world is doing. So you throw a stone, it goes and hit a MBA. Don't do it for that reason, right? What is the reason you want to do MBA for? Target achieved, but so many problems. So I'm not really able to understand the question. Target achieved, but so many problems. Well, that's a continuous improvement process. There will always be problems. That's how the world is shaped. Can you please differentiate copyright trademark registration? Like I said, I can't take the name, Mr. NN. I can't really go into depth right now on the call for that because that's a very, very separate topic, right? And just to guide you on this, if you have a CA or if you can find out a CA, he or she is your person for it, because there are very, very standard processes around it. There are very, very specific registration types around it. So when you differentiate between copyright, trademark, and registration, they're all different. Copyright is taking, kind of basically taking the copyright on it, that this thing belongs to you. Then nobody else, it's basically giving you the complete authority on that content or whatever it is, and nobody else can do it. It will call plagiarism there. Trademarking is again the same thing, but that's more to do with the brand identity. So like I can't use Tata logo on my slides and all because it's a trademark of them. I've trademarked it. You can actually Google and read this stuff, I mean, in detail. Registration is getting your organization registered. So they're all three different. Registration is you are having a registration by a particular name because you want to do commercial transactions. An individual cannot like register a company, but you can go into, let's say, a sole proprietorship, but that's again to do some business transactions. So find out the reason for why you're asking copyright trademark registration and what are you really trying to do here. Are you trying to register a company? Do you have an idea, something you have created, innovated, which you want to copyright, get a copyright on, like a book you have written or some kind of white paper, whatever it might be. So you have to figure out what you are doing. I have a photography brand, but somehow unable to make more clients. So do more promotion, put up more content, put up more stories, share your experiences, put up testimonials, send out requests to people, make a community, interact with more photographers, go and attend events, put up some information for photography people that this is how they can do. So you have to think that why people are not coming. Give some offers. If you're looking right now, your goal is to have more clients, so compromise a little bit on financials, on commercials. Give them free consulting, offer them up that, okay, this is something that I'll do plus this. So you have to find out the ways to bring the audience. Your client, but and what you offer, but there is a gap. Why are they not coming? And right now, anybody, in any case, we are all facing a lot of problems right now. I mean, since the last 1 year, every business has gone down. Whatever people are wanting to even invest in, they're not. So you have to figure out that to sustain, what is it that you can offer something which is an additional value to them. I have photography brand, but somehow, yeah, okay, I just answered your question. Oh, okay, big shot clients. See, big shot clients will come only when they have a credibility of you. Like I said, they need to have a lot of trust on your brand. They will not put in the money for anonymous, right? They need to know who you are, because once they put in the money, they don't know the results. So they have to see the results. They have to have that credibility, right? Then only they will do. You guys have probably come to this session, even if not for me, but you have some trust on Spark.Live. You probably are following them for a while. You might have attended some other sessions. So there is a credibility attached to this session. If not me, then the brand. So do that. Okay, we are just 1 minute left, and Gaurav, I think like a rapid fire, I have answered all of them. Just one last question came. Come up with more sessions like this. You are very educative. Okay, I thought you said I'm very addictive. Yeah, for sure, definitely. I'm on Spark.Live. Book a session there. Follow me on Insta, Facebook, on LinkedIn. More on LinkedIn and Insta. I'm more active there. And I really hope, guys, that this last side which I'm talking about, please live and leverage your brand every day. You all have potential to. That's the only passing note that I can say. We all have something unique on us. If we don't feel that we have, then nobody else will, right? And whether or not you try to make a brand, somebody has already built up your personal brand. So people have perceptions around you. Now you use them for your benefit, or you make them better. That's a choice that you have to take. Okay. So we are on dot 88. Gaurav, I don't think any more questions are
Yeah,
coming.
thank you. Thanks a lot, Ms. Nidhi. It was very engaging, and it was very helpful for me also. Like, I am trying to get sponsors, so that's also really nice. So yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Sure, sure.
And
So
I'm sharing the link for everyone on the group. So if anyone wants to join Miss Nidhi's paid session, and again wants to get personal attention from her, and personally wants their brand to be built with the help of her, y'all can contact her on our app. I will share that link right away. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
yeah, thank you so much, guys. And yes, please do it through the app, because I know Spark Live has taken the initiative to do it. So just please utilize the app. It's a very nice platform. And all the best to everybody. And please, please, please stay safe. We have still not got over the COVID situation. So please stay safe and keep your families safe.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Take care. Bye, guys. Good night. Have a safe day. Take care.